Hello, it's me again. Car. I hope you all are having a wonderful day today. I'm here to give a heads up that this video isn't up to date with the current sprite change of Garn47, and changing it would basically remake the entirety of it. That's no good. Yuck. But that's about it. Let's let Dapiel take over now. Lord powers activate.
Welcome back everyone for the second video for this Garn47 lore analysis. If you haven't watched the first video, I highly urge you to, as you might need to watch it in order to fully understand what in God's name is going on in the game. Garn47 isn't easy to digest if you're wanting to know about the story's lore, so I'm glad you all can watch me attempt to tackle on this insane and surreal lore of it without me going completely insane from Garn theoryitis. But before anything, I really want to express my gratitude to you all. The overwhelming amount of positivity I received for the first video was insane. I genuinely can't thank y'all enough for this, as it helps motivate me to continue doing this massive project for the community and newer viewers who also really enjoy Garn47 as well. Reading your comments was really enjoyable, and I look forward to see what you all will say next with this hefty amount of lore I'm about to dump on y'all. With that said, we can finally continue onward from the tale of two siblings' tragic separation over ambitious goals while tackling on the horrors that lurk around us with Garn47. We must now find our way around to discover the story's lore and venture into the depths of the Superstructure. After you recruit Car, he provides you with a map that leads you straight to a hidden entrance into that tall building called the Superstructure. It holds 2 floors, a basement, and a roof section, each holding its own form of content within it. It's really massive, as the scale of the building keeps towering higher and higher, specifically skyscraper height, as it stands at a 225.51 meters tall, almost to the height of the MetLife building in New York City. The insides are nothing but a bunch of ramps and odd architectural formations. Thanks to Garn47 speed, these ramps are useful for us scaling the superstructure. Upon entering the superstructure, you are warned of something lurking inside the building.
Remember to turn off your flashlight if you feel in danger. Just press Q.
Turn off your flashlight when you hear a rising noise, but not too early or you'll get shot.
Leaving the flashlight on enables a rising noise to play, which indicates that whatever is attacking you is approaching rapidly. Keeping an eye on this while going through the structure is key, because the thing that wants to attack you is quite literally time itself. Both Drilly and Car immediately vanish from your HUD when that happens, in fear of their own safety, since time is considered an entity and their power is certainly something not to mess with. It's a fun fact that Drilly hates them, as they are someone Drilly wouldn't even be nice to. If you want to remove time from attacking you, you must parkour your way up into the room where you encounter the first mean of the deep, Garn46. His door is marked with an odd symbol. That is the mark of the mean, or best said as the 3 means of the deep's logo. Of course, we chase him down and run him over, thus ending the fight. But it's what happens after that makes it more odd. We can notice that with Garn46 taken care of and checked off our hit list, time actually stops attacking us from now on. Why this is happening is actually hard for me to say, since Flumbo doesn't know as well. She even mentioned how she does not want him to be in the superstructure, so the relevance is really unclear. But as a rare time enjoyer, I can attempt to give a narrative to him in case he actually is staying for Garn47. I'll go over it after explaining the structure a little bit more. To make it clear, you are restricted exploring the structure. The second floor and the basement are locked away until you take down 2 of the means of the deep to unlock their respective locked door. Since we already took care of Garn46, we must head into our next battle with Gar7C in the basement of the superstructure. The basement appears to be flooded, filled with water which we must carefully travel in because we can quite literally drown. Our fish is here to assist us in case we need a boost up.
Hit me with E to get a boost.
There are 3 switches here as well we must press if you want to get around the place. But for now, we will enter Gar7C's room that is also marked with the iconic mean logo. We already explained his minigame, he challenges you in, but after defeating him, we get access to the roof section of the superstructure. On top of it, you can find 2 things. One, which appears to be a beating heart for the superstructure. This is defended by a character like Brimbo that'll also talk later, stating this to be the literal heart generating abnormal amounts of power. This abnormal amounts of power is so intense that Flimbo stated how the heart has the ability to nullify some aspects of you while being inside of the superstructure. Since Garn47 is also affected, as he can't fly at all until he reaches the roof where he could just barely get control of his ability. This power, no doubt, is something no one should be messing with. The same power that is also known to run through the entire superstructure. Power that 100% goes to the world creation chambers as well. If we remember, those are the rooms you enter in that appears to be a weird minimal saturated area with eerie music playing. The same rooms used to create the world of Garn47 by Car and Car. This creation truly is at work when even the theme of the heart is titled Infinite Worlds. To truly understand what that title means, and even the scope of how powerful this building is and its tie with world creation, we must start to question the reason behind why it exists. This power that surges through the superstructure serves a far greater purpose since Brimbo mentions its other attribute.
Looks like they use this tower to make and travel to other worlds. I would know.
Our friend Brimble tells us that the superstructure can even jump between worlds. Like if that already isn't crazy as it is. That beating heart truly is at work when it can allow world creation and the ability to jump between worlds, since it's emitting its ambience throughout the entire structure to establish that it is in control. Now that we went over the attributes of the superstructure, we can now talk about what Time's purpose is if he is still being implemented into Garn47. There is no doubt that his contribution would probably be minimal but informative. Let's start by asking this question first. What does all the things having to do with the superstructure have in common? They are all equally messing with time. World creation, building worlds on time and space. World jumping, jumping through time and space. The heart, giving the power to do things on time and space. There is no doubt Kar has caught the attention of time regarding her actions, messing with things that can alter or change aspects on his turf. The way she uses the superstructure and the powerful heart that fuels to make and travel to other worlds, it's certainly not normal, which can lead to time really not liking what she's doing. But it could be a Miguel O'Hara situation where those said things is a canon event, thus leading time to not interfere, but watch instead, since I'm sure time can also perhaps see in the future as well. This certainly isn't me foreshadowing something for the ending of Garn47. But if we meet time at some point, and he is a good person, I'm sure he will tell us about Kar and her doings with his overall opinion. Despite the time stuff, I just simply wanted to theorize where time could be placed into Garn47 if he is staying. The next thing we can talk about is how we can find a spaceship on the roof where the heart is. As said before, it has a Stenny which can unlock Warren 53. Reason why I'm continuing his part here is because he can now be found in random parts of the superstructure to interact with as a friendly person.
Wowee. I wonder if it keeps going. It's too tall. Don't like it.
Going back to the roof, we can find him standing there, and if we interact with him, we get told this.
I'm here to warn you!
This spaceship will lead you to the final section of the game after collecting 12 total badges to summon the one and only Form Spire. As if world hopping wasn't enough, we now have a serpent-like spaceship that acts like some form of mothership you can get onto, with the keys that would spawn for the little jet. The Form Spire info will be for the second half of the video when we return to it. As a bonus note, Warren 53 is actually set to help us when we get on board of the Form Spire. so there's that to look forward to as well. But its relevance is just as important to the superstructure. I will mention this though, as it's very important to understand the scope of this ship just as much as the superstructure too. To start, we can actually find the ship's head in a secret room after obtaining a crystal key in the basement section using Car to boost us up. There, the head of the ship is floating on red liquid that would kill us if we fall in it. If we didn't recruit Car, Car's sister can be seen blasting away on it with her glort powers and gets annoyed if we bother her.
Can't you see I'm busy?
Unfortunately, she even attacks Warren 53.
Beach.
A radio can be found in this room that plays a theme of the form Spire upon touching it, which gives us the idea that yes, this room contains the head of the form Spire. Why exactly is the form Spire laying dormant in here was explained through one of Flumbo's live responses to someone asking about the three means of the deep. She since then deleted that live stream, so the only way I can verify this info was by the wiki for Garn47 stating it as well. The three means of the deep as well as Car are there to help maintain the structure and the form Spire. It sped up the process of maintaining both instead of Car doing it all by herself. It also explains why they are assigned each floor of the building, since their signature mark can be found in front of all the rooms that they are in. Garn7 was likely to be encountered on the roof since that mark is there, but it's been established that we will fight him in the form Spire instead. This was the reason behind why the three means are in the building and associated with Car more deeply, to help assist Car's goals while also getting their fair share in return. It also explains the reason why we find Car blasting the head, as I guess this is her way of maintaining it. But maintaining it might be quite the difficult task for one singular person. The tail of the ship can be found deep underground in a location I'll talk about after this section. When I say deep, I really mean deep, because someone did a theoretical height check with the form Spire and noticed it to be 2,292 meters. In perspective, that's more than the Burj Khalifa and the Shanghai Tower together. Literally the first and second place winners for the tallest man-made structures in the world. Which means that the superstructure is rooted incredibly deep into Garn47's world, enough to even get Car to question it twice, despite growing up in that building.
Did my sister make this? Whoa, how deep is this?
It also explains why the metallic texture you find on the superstructure extends outward in the main lobby, since it's just that massive. There is one last thing I can talk about regarding the superstructure, and that is the time boss you can fight called the Gentles. Massive, skinny, and fully autonomous robots that threaten to kill us if you get noticed by them. Filling 4 squares at the edges of the arena fills up a charge meter. Upon doing so, opens up the exit and you win with a newly added badge on your name. As to what the robot's relevance is explained once again by Brimbo saying this.
Blueprints say these Gentles are a part of a ship. What ship? They look lost.
The Gentles being part of a ship seems to be part of the form Spire. The fact that the Gentles look lost mean that they're not where they're supposed to be. Powerful robots capable of creating highly powerful beam blasts, bombs, and even killing aura fields to get caught by. I wouldn't blame people to think that these things are the weapons of the form Spire, and they could be. Considering how the form Spire is laying dormant there means that these Gentles are waiting for their ship to be done being maintained so they can attend it on board. Even their theme has them telling us to don't go house, which is the form Spire. On a side note, that key that we found within the basement of the superstructure can unlock a door within another section called Giraffe Town. There isn't anything crazy to think about this part of the game other than it being a homage to another game. Behind it holds a notepad, something we will be using for a good bit to gather certain lore pieces and even an entire ending. More on that when we get there. There are other doors you can open, but they lead to another badge of a Rain World inspired section and Garn47 of Car section. Aside from that, this notepad is where I've been getting my Brimbo's quotes as well. But with that said, that's all you can encounter so far early in the game. You can leave the building and go to other places now that you gathered the 3 things needed from there. 3 things that I won't explain so much since it's just a radio, a key, and a notepad. All things that I'll mention along the way anyways. It just goes to show that this is only the tip of the iceberg regarding the superstructure. The more we dive into the lore, the more I'll reveal the truth behind it. The lore is so heavy that I'm only going to explain the rest of it towards the end of the video as we come back to it for the end game. I will reveal some info along the way though, as it is needed to reveal certain aspects for the lore, just so we can understand the narrative better. Now with our collected items and witnessing the insane things within the superstructure, there is still a place that's fairly related to it that we yet need to look at. Something more darker and eerie. A place of absolute musk and horror that no one should be trapped in. The location otherwise known as the Broadcasted Maze. Continuing our journey with Car, after defeating the means of the deep and collecting the radio from the 3 things we previously mentioned, we can head over to the Golden City section of the lobby and find ourselves a lone radio playing on top of a fountain. People experimenting with this radio will notice that the music playing on the fountain is the same song we can play on ours. When playing both together, the fountain water drains and leaves us with a passage to a place buried deep underground, the Broadcasted Maze. The music being played is called Casti, short for Broadcasted, symbolizing the tie it has with the creature we will meet. Swapping into first-person perspective, Car mentions how he hasn't been down here for a long time.
I haven't been down here in a long time.
To explain a bit of context about this location, it's unsettling. The steady rising ambient music causing tension in the atmosphere. Your radio isn't working anymore as you scroll through the stations. Nothing but a click of a button is heard when attempting to do so. The only thing that is playing through the radio is the ambience of the level. So funny how it also puts Julie asleep. You will notice an empty diamond in the corner of your HUD with 8 missing slots. Taking an immediate left when walking, you will come across a familiar figure I mentioned before, Brimbo. When interacting, he states something really interesting.
I was supposed to tell the world my story. What is this place?
Brimbo's character plays a heavy role in the lore of Garn47, as the many times I showed him dropping info about things he just already knows about. But talking about him now would only jumble up the lore a bit, so keep him in mind a little bit more as we continue further into this unsettling maze. There is a reason why I'm leaving him out for now. Something we notice is that his interaction allowed our diamond to charge up by a fraction. In other words, we need to charge this up more. Navigating through the maze, we will encounter more of these characters. They are called the Broadcasted Buddies, spanning from Brimbo to Susie, Flumi, Chipley, Fleepo, Foraz, Death, and LD. Characters just like Brimbo, where they deserve their own section to be talked about. It should be nothing shocking that you can also be attacked in this undisclosed area, as the Broadcasted minions also inhabit the labyrinth you wander around in. From big towering flesh towers emitting unnerving sounds, roaming aimlessly to block off paths from you, to levitating flesh monolith creatures that scream at you when you look at it, stunning you in the process, to the most aggressive of them all, a spider-like creature that roams the maze at random, and those who are unfortunate in encountering it must run immediately as it beelines straight to you. You must run away a good bit before it stops and wanders again aimlessly. And at the very end of the maze is none other than the broadcasted. But we can save them for the end of the segment. But what exactly is the broadcasted maze? And why is it here? It all started before the road trip update of one post Car made of a message he sent to an unknown figure. A figure we later found out to be the broadcasted. The letter describes that he sent meat in order to form some sort of forgiveness between the two, but why? Car follows up with this with a 19-second clip of that same note being read by something as Car's voice reads the message in the background. What comes after is very interesting. A long pointed arm follows the text as Car's voice plays over it. The figure of the broadcasted soon follows after, and then the creation of a Cartwright head is shown with the same meat that Car gave. Car later posted another video a day after promoting his plush, but something unexpected happened.
Hello everyone, this is another reminder that my plush is still available on the YouTube's website.
Hello, I am your new friend Carrie, and I am here to remind you that I will always be here to love you. I will never forget you. I will always be here for you. I will never leave you alone if you are sad.
Don't worry, everything will be okay soon.
That same head we saw the broadcasted make has made its way into Car's house with a full body now, saying random things that similarly sounds like the stuff Car would say normally. This Cartwright introduces itself as Kari, and we can find it in a hidden room in Car's house. It has a green diamond earring now as well. Seems like Drilly and Car helped this Cartwright and set them free with that diamond. We know why Kari has an earring, as Car implies that if it does not give that earring, it will live in pain. This message also confirms how the broadcaster would create copies of you if you give the materials needed. Anything it makes is incomplete, aka missing parts of glorts or perhaps another thing. Its unknown power to do this leaves the creation in pain as it does not have the life components needed. It's like being born but with a chunk of your soul missing. Now, this isn't the last time we see this happen, as Car's sister gets the same treatment. Going into her hidden lab in the superstructure on the second floor with that crystal key we got, we see various clones of herself locked away in tubes, laid out on a table, even one being melted in some goop and turned back into the same meat Car gave to the broadcasted with an anguishing scream. When entering the room with the computer setup, Car questions if this lab is his sister's.
I think this is my sister's lab.
This question gets answered very quickly as we find a picture of them together facing the wall, symbolizing Car's refusal to even look at the picture of them. Going back to the Cartwrights, there is even one hiding away in a room with a little bed that says something as well.
How weak can you possibly be? I wouldn't exist if you were any better.
Why is it sending these to her?
When interacting with that clone, Car questions why it's sending them to her. His uncertainty establishes something really odd. From what we know, Car is taking accountability on something that happened between the two, and yet Car is being brought into it, where she's also getting these clones sent to her. Reason why is because Car mainly created the broadcasted, and Car was likely not so involved. Allow me to explain. To start this off, Flumbo mentioned something oddly specific regarding each clone of Car, their left ear. It's not the same black color as current day Car. Why does this matter? Well, it's because we can understand a time interval in this lore when the experimenting was happening. The reason why they have this part missing is because it's a clone of Car when she was young. way before Car matured a bit to grow that black fur in. It's how the broadcaster remembered her, but as to why she has little to no part in his creation is because of 3 things. Firstly, Flumbo states how the way a creation looks hints at who made them. The broadcasted and Praise for All looked very similar to the type of skin texture they have. Even Praise for All uses Car's literal texture. The broadcasted is similar but uses his own grayscale to it. Funny enough, the meat Car sends to the broadcasted also looks like the same texture. Secondly, the fact Car questioned why it's sending her clones of herself only tells me that she had no play in its making. His confusion only pushes the idea of her involvement being minimal. The only reason why the broadcaster knows how she looks like is because she might have been on the side, perhaps doing things or doing tiny forms of work to help Car, but not entirely. Third, there must be a reason why the broadcasted is stated to be incomplete. Our lovely friend describes this to us.
The broadcasted is watching. I'd be upset if I was made incomplete too.
I have reason to suspect that during the midst of creating the broadcasted, Car had his moment of realization that he didn't want to make any more life. That, or it was the moment Car and Car got into a tuffle about their goals, thus making Car leave at the last minute before the broadcasted can be finished. Car was then left with the unfinished broadcasted, and because of her lack of power, she couldn't do it herself or just didn't care enough to finish it. This is defended by how Car needed Car to help her with said goals. Car literally had the power to provide glorts for these experiments, and Car likely couldn't. He was the same person who also made the chambers for these creations with his badges, even creating little versions of himself in his house for quote experiments. Keep in mind that the broadcasted has all his glorts in, and yet something was still missing, so there must be another phase to finishing him. It could be the reason why he looks so slender. At the end, they left the broadcasted in the depths of the structure, eventually being renamed to the broadcasted maze after he took over that area. The tail of the form spire I mentioned, that can also be found hidden in the broadcasted maze, implying that they are in fact connected areas. They are so connected that Flumbo even showed us a view as to how Garn47 world looks like. We can see the superstructure as well as Garn47's house on one singular pillar, just like how we see it in game. And below that are a bunch of connecting pathways, something we never seen yet. But the center of the planet is none other than the broadcasted maze, which means we have a theoretical planet size if we use the form spire's length to measure it. It will be approximately 5,502 meters in diameter. That's not even close to the diameter of Earth. Neither is it close to the moon or the smallest dwarf planet. In fact, Garn47's planet is almost the size of Mount Kilimanjaro. This clearly isn't a planet, but rather a planetoid. Overall, this does show how grand these two locations are when we see a perspective like this. But to continue the narrative, we can fast forward to modern day, and the broadcaster has been sending clones of Car and Car to mock them, to shame them, and be a constant reminder of their actions they committed when creating it and not even finishing. It's the reason why Car asks for forgiveness, as his heart of gold feels for the mistakes he's done by leaving it behind and allowing it to live in pain, being incomplete. But with every creation the broadcaster makes, he creates them in the same pain he lives in, as an incomplete form, and only allows them to say the things he wants in order to get into the siblings' heads about their mistakes. That's another reason why Car and Julie had to give that glort to Kari, because Kari can only do what the broadcasted wanted, so they quote freed it. Despite this crude way at getting back at them, he's not yet off the hook, as his creations remember his doing through a hidden message you can find in the maze with a diamond in the middle symbolizing the Karite's iconic symbol. I mentioned something at the literal beginning of the video about parody accounts existing of Car on Twitter. What if I told you that these are actually canon? Semi-canon to be correct, as Flumbo mentioned that they are actually a part of the world of Garn. But what they do on their accounts isn't canon at all. It's a fun, inclusive way of showing that these fan-made cars are also car rights that were created by the broadcasted. That same question Car had when meeting that emo car right can be used to wrap this around in a full circle, as that message holds more than what meets the eye. This outright feels like an accusation. Because of her feud with Car and chasing him away, this of course resulted in the broadcasted being incomplete, something that wouldn't have occurred if Car had been the better creator, decision maker, or sibling, weaponizing her accountability against her, as the clone is essentially forcing her to confront the unintended consequences of her actions, and she cannot fix its flaw because she's weak herself. As to what she is doing with these clones raises a new suspicion. If Car isn't there to provide her glorts, who can? I feel like it's none other than the broadcasted clones. Considering how Car can make life essence and seeing how the broadcasted can do the same sort of thing, she noticed she can just harvest them and drain their glorts in order to continue her goals without Car. It's why we see her melting ones she don't need, keeping the ones she wants in tubes, harvesting the ones on her table, and leaving personal ones up in that little room. It also explains why there is hanging meat in her lab. If the meat serves no purpose, then why is she keeping it? It's most likely the meat she sends to the broadcasted in order to obtain more clones for more glorts. And when the clone serves their purpose, she melts them back down into meat again just to repeat the cycle. This is more defended when we realize that Car barely found out about the broadcasted liking meat, which then resulted in Kari, only known Car-like clone to exist, and yet Car already has an arsenal of Karites in her lab, which only indicates that Car was already sending meat much more earlier than Car. It does answer why Car is confused, since the broadcasted would only send clones of you if you yourself sends the materials needed to him. That only implies Car has also been sending meat for her purposes as well. It's also sort of why Car is confused, since he thought he was the only one sending that meat to him, being completely unaware that Car is taking full advantage of the broadcasted. If you don't bring Car with you and head to her lab, Car can be found on her computer, but if you shoot at her, she will get pissed and attempt to fight you. After the mini fight is done, she gives up and says this.
Whatever, just go. I clearly need more practice.
This is a clear example of Car still being underpowered to the point that she can't even match up with us, Garn47. But this entire fight does truly show us the entire shtick that Car has, with her being weak and needing others to facilitate what she needs. From the tech that she uses from the superstructure, to using the 3 means to help her with her advancements, to the broadcasted being able to deliver her the glorts that she can't even make. She's been honestly improvising as much as she could just so she can reach the goals that she wants to. And you know it's bad because she can't even go after Garn. This all might be a stretch, but I do truly feel this worked for an answer. Until we get more confirmation, this will suffice. I could even go on a limb and say that after she'd taken the 3 means, they were the needed remaining power to continue said objective. I'm sure they do more than just maintain the superstructure and form Spire. It makes no sense how Car can continue these goals without an extra hand due to her lack of power. At the end, the broadcasted was just left, as the entrance was covered with water of that fountain. It's probably why Car hasn't been down there in a long time, for reasons I'll say at the end when we go over the broadcasted encounter. Being tired of this beef with each other, Car finally had enough and claimed that with his newly found ally, Garn47, they will venture into the maze and conclude this cycle of mockery and anger once and for all. Now journeying into the broadcasted maze, his enclosure, rescuing the friends trapped below, charging up our diamond, and using it as the key to open the door that holds the broadcasted behind it. Entering the room has a large slender thing waiting on the other side, dormant. You will come to notice that we can fire a beam of some kind as a weapon. And when you're ready, you can finally shoot that figure and start the one and only broadcast fight. The broadcaster does not fight us directly, but fights us with the Superstructure's weapons and a new minion called the Broadcastees, a pulsating heart-like object that flies towards you with odd sounds. It shows us his inability to do things himself and manipulate other things to use for his benefit. His only form of actions is slowly wandering around, dancing in circles, and when needed, he runs. In his second phase, he becomes more agile and attempts to predict when you shoot at him, dodging in advance. He also starts to jump and do more of a harder dance to hit him. You will come to notice that the beams that fire at you are oddly similar to the Gentle's head, as they both fire lasers, once again defending the idea that these two locations are together. Even that red liquid used to melt that carite shows his ability to use it and not get harmed at all. After a long fight, we defeat the broadcasted. It slumps over immobile as this scene plays out.
Hello, it's good to finally see you again. I'm sorry for all this time I've been gone. I learned something new that might help you.
In an act of redemption, Car apologizes for no longer visiting it, as he was busy discovering something that will finally end the conflict between them. A dark blue diamond glort tossed to the broadcasted, a glort earring full of life and power, the component needed to completing the part of him that wasn't there when he was born into the world of Garn. When leaving the boss arena, it plays another cutscene to fully wrap up this internal anger to the siblings, thanks to Car's generous offer. The broadcasted. Being born in a world incomplete and abandoned by Car and Car, in the depths of the superstructure, was only created because of their unknown objective in creating life. Watching the events that unfolded before his eyes and understanding their personal issue between each other allowed him to form some sort of way to harass them and mock them for their actions against him for weeks or even months on end. And now, it finally came to an end. Car healed this outcome by doing the thing he should have done in the moment the broadcasted was being made, by giving the final piece needed to fully complete him, a piece of life, a piece of glort created in the manner of an earring, just like Car with his earring, ultimately making the broadcasted whole and wrapping this entire arc between them once and for all. As a result, the broadcasted finally felt a sense of ease. The song playing during this cutscene is called Forgive You, composed by none other than the broadcasted and Car, a theme embodying the forgiveness of this long-lasting anger, letting go and moving on for the future ahead of it. This entire situation is an example of their past actions coming back and biting them for messing with things that isn't for them to experiment with. The reason why Car wanted to stop all experimentations altogether, as the broadcasted serves that example well of the outcomes that can come from it. In the end though, it's a side conflict we happen to solve with Car, as the conflict he has with Car is still unsolved. She's still left in the superstructure, still attempting to get this goal of hers to succeed. A goal that can be reached with the help of the superstructure power, the three means, and any other power givers like the broadcasted, continuing her antics and maintaining the form spire from within, a ship that we will eventually get into for the V3 update of Garn47. Now with this all concluded, we officially made it halfway through the game. To think this much lore was given within the first half is quite something. That's not to mention how you can speedrun all of Garn47 in under 20 minutes. Absolutely crazy. This game overall truly shows that there are things never to be judged by the cover, as even the simplest of stuff can have a compelling backstory waiting to be solved. Same can be said for our newer cast of characters of Brimbo and the gang. the next set of people we will go over for the next video within this series. Now that this video is complete, I hope we can continue looking forward to what's to come for our new friends we saved. I do want to give everyone a heads up, but this next video will take a fair amount of time to finish, as we are now entering in a whole new chapter of Garn47 that's unlike what we talked about already. The lore continues to thicken, and I want to make sure I properly give it justice with the most accurate information that doesn't stray away from the truth. To combat this, I made a Discord server that I'll have linked below for occasional updates on the next video, while also allowing y'all to stay for future content I'll post, so feel free to join. Other than that, I do hope everyone enjoyed this video, and I hope you all are ready to see the next one when it comes out. Make sure to like and subscribe, and comment down below what you think. Love you all, and I will see you all in the next one.